another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. Your usual suspects tonight, myself, Dakota, Timothy, of course. How are we?
Howdy. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Doing all right. Eagles are, they played a little bit better when you were there, so.
Yeah, this is one of those tough games that, like, am I really going to kill him that much when I didn't really expect him to ever win this game? Like, these games are fun because you really can only be impressed. Like, if they beat the Chiefs, I would have been ecstatic, but, I expected them to lose, so I can't really be too bummed. It was competitive. They hung in there. They made some plays.
I here's the thing, so I don't understand why, and we both ripped the coaching staff last week, which was justifiable, but I don't understand why fans call into the radio stations or go on Twitter and tweet about shit saying that they're already giving up on the coaching staff. They're already ready to move on from Sirianni. They think he's terrible. Gannon sucks. Hurts is going to be a one and done, all this stuff. It's week 4 with a brand new coaching staff. Typically, if you watch football, besides a couple of special occasions here and there, rookie coaches do not do well. They have growing pains, especially rookie coaches who've never been in a full-time role.
I agree with you there.
I don't understand. He's learning how to play call. He's learning how to call. I can't even speak. He's learning how to call the plays. He's learning how to coach the players. He's learning how to manage the game, not just as, the offensive mind, but also, checking on the defense, checking on the special teams, seeing if there's injured players who needs to be subbed in. There's so much going on, and he's learning all this, just like Jalen's learning how to play. This is his 7th game he started. He's technically an extended rookie. This is essentially a rookie year for Jalen. So
I see where I see where you're coming from, and I know that the WIP callers get you all hot and bothered because I know you're a patience.
I just listen for chucks and giggles at this point because people calling are absolute morons.
There's stuff to work on. So Sirianni, the offense in general, I've seen good. Yeah, I've seen good and bad. I'm not going to kill him. The penalties I'm going to kill him for. That has just been ridiculous. The amount of penalties we get is just out of. Well, look at they're killing you in these games. When I think Whiteside got his what was it, the pass interference on the pick play when they were in the end zone, they took away a touchdown. I think it was Ertz that scored. That was your game right there. You're in the third quarter. I think we were down by a score. That's a huge play for you. You need to get that, and then you get a penalty on it. Same thing with I think it was Rager stepped out of bounds, or Devontae Smith stepped out of bounds this time.
Smith.
It's just the ineligible man downfield still happens, and that looks like it's a coaching or a miscommunication because these plays look like Hurts need to get the ball out of his hands. Yeah. So is he? Why are we calling these plays? That's been the one consistency throughout the whole year is just penalties and especially ineligible man downfield. Can we call different plays because these are clearly not working?
I don't think I've ever seen this many ineligible man down the field penalties called in an entire season. It's been games.
I think he's just getting a little. I think
Nuts.
He's trying to get a little too cute with it sometimes. You probably shouldn't be running these timing plays with 4 backup offensive linemen and, like you said, almost rookie quarterback. They clearly don't have the timing down, and it's clearly not working. I feel like he's trying to get too cute sometimes to make up with things. But just run the ball, be simple, stop getting penalties. One of the things I'll compliment him on him is I liked the passing plays we had. I thought it was a lot of get the ball out of Hurts' hand pretty early, short passes, which I thought worked pretty well against the Falcons early in the year.
The up-tempo, no huddle-ish plays worked phenomenal. They were cruising down the field, and they had to against the Chiefs because our defense was Swiss cheese. They were giving up everything, which is a whole nother conversation.
I thought it made sense in the situation you're in. You have 4 backup offensive linemen, so don't have Hurts stand back there and expect to get all this time.
Right.
Hurts has already shown that he's not the best, deep thrower in the league, and we all know that. And I think your weapons with Watkins, Smith, Rager, these are guys that give them the ball and just let them do their thing. Just put the ball in their hand, they're going to make plays. And I thought you saw a little bit of that. The red zone defense or offense was a big worry because I thought they moved the ball really well, and then we got in the red zone and just stalled completely.
Yeah, our red zone offense and defense is terrible.
Yeah, and that's that's a big indicator of good teams and bad teams. Good teams can stop you in the red zone and they can score in the red zone. So, I mean, you're missing 4 offensive linemen. That obviously came into effect. But with the offense, it's hard to really kill them.
The O-line
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I know. I actually was surprised by how well the line did. I was expecting Hurts to get
protection
killed.
at least. I mean, Sanders had no holes to run through for most of the game, and even when they pretty much got away from the run early because they were playing catch up. But
of course, but still, you got to run the ball. We all know it. There was a chance at the game for the guy to run the ball, and after he did that, he ran the ball, and I think they scored the touchdown the next play.
Yeah, it was a Gainwell touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not Sirianni. He's a rookie. I can live with it. Now, here's the thing with coaching that is I'm more concerned about, and was thinking about this more when we hired Sirianni. Is you look at young coaches, especially offensive-minded ones. So think back the last couple of years, like Cliff Kingsbury, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay.
Okay.
Sean McVay, when he was hired, he had Wade Phillips as defense coordinator. Even Doug. Doug was a first-year head coach. He had Jim Schwartz as his defense coordinator. Matt LaFleur was hired. Mike Pinn was already there. Yep. But Vance Joseph is the defense coordinator for Cliff Kingsbury since he's been with the Cardinals. These are all guys that used to be head coaches before.
And probably established coordinators too.
Yeah, but more importantly, the defense, because when you hire these guys like Sirianni, Doug, or McVay, you expect them to run the offense. I'm not as worried about having a veteran guy as an offense coordinator, but a defense coordinator that's a veteran guy that, can help your rookie quarterback, I think would have been big. Obviously he didn't do that. He went and got a guy he knew in Gannon, and man, the defense coordinator, the defense game plan was awful last week. What I saw Tyreek Hill on one-on-one. I'm like, Eric Wilson, Anthony Harris, what are we doing? We don't bring any pressure. We don't blitz at all. Even we're so vanilla. And it's just disappointing. The coaching on the defense side and the veterans that we brought in, these Howie guys, Kerrigans, the Anthony Harrises, I've been extremely disappointed with them. I've been very disappointed with the veteran pickups they brought in, and just the defense is my biggest issue with the team.
I understand your whole gripe with Anthony Harris, but him and Steve Nelson have actually been fine for me.
I'll give you Nelson. Anthony Harris is stuck. I've seen him drop interceptions, miss tackles, get burned. He's not doing enough positive things to make up for this.
First of all, he got burned by Tyreek Hill, one of the fast receivers. And then I saw Derwin James, one of my favorite safeties, getting burned by Henry Ruggs last night. So
you're right about that. But you know what? Derwin James got an interception later on in the game to make up for it. Anthony Harris doesn't make plays. So
that's because they have him playing 1,000 yards down the field because they play deep coverage, defense, which it works. And so this is a problem with Jim Schwartz's defense. We talked about a couple episodes ago, was it doesn't work because you need elite level players at every position in order for that to thrive. And in this defense, you need essentially elite linebackers because they need to cover and stop the run. And what has been evident, we're just getting gashed down the middle on the run. So our D-line is getting punctured, and then the linebackers aren't doing anything. That's why our safeties are the ones making all the tackles. It's I don't know.
I mean, the linebackers are awful.
Please,
Wilson was a horrible trade.
Go get somebody. Who's Jamie Collins? I think Jamie Collins is available. Go trade for him from the Lions.
Yeah, but he already. The Patriots already basically said he's coming back. I think they already have intentions from his side. But this is the point. Who are you going to trade for? Howie just got all these veteran guys, and they stink. They're killing you. Eric Wilson's not good. Kerrigan hasn't done anything.
I don't know. Wilson wasn't a big name. He was a cheap contract. It wasn't. He was supposed to come in for competition. Maybe he would start. Maybe he wouldn't. And then this is just how it's played out. But that's why I'm saying, this draft coming up, all 7 rounds, you go linebacker. One of them's got to work, right?
Well, that's probably the biggest positive I took from this week is we're at the number 4, 5th, or number 4, number 5, and number 7 draft pick currently.
Oh yeah.
Which is nice. That's a big win for us. Something to look forward to.
Credit. I would say credit. I thought Jalen Hurts played really well. A couple of missed passes, but then, I think at times we are super critical of him because then I was watching Justin Herbert last night and he missed 2 touchdowns that I saw. One really bad one to Mike Williams. So
that's true, but he kind of made up for it later on in the game by, leading drive after drive down the field. And I think they were up by 3 touchdowns when he missed that pass, or 2 touchdowns at least.
Sure. But he's also got a better team around him right now. But I
Yeah,
think
no, listen.
for the hand Jalen was dealt, I think he to play as bad as he did against Dallas, to come out and just play really well in my eyes against Kansas City, that was impressive to me. And there was definitely more zip on his ball. He was definitely getting more distance on it. He was leading the receivers better. So that's what we want to see. Like, that's progress. So clearly the coaches were pointing that out to him in practice and stuff. So we'll see.
I thought the game plan was much better.
Yeah.
He had a much better chance of succeeding this week than he did against Dallas. The game plan last week, it was just awful. They were just kept on trying to push the ball downfield, and it was just exposing Hurts. And this game plan was different. I'll credit Sirianni for that. But, you know, not running the ball, like, that's not helping Jalen. Putting him in this position where you're eliminating one of your, you know, an important part of his game that's supposed to help. I thought, watching the Cowboys, Dak had a great game, but he really didn't do. He threw 4 touchdowns, but he didn't even have 200 yards passing. I don't even think he threw the ball 20 times. Zeke and Pollard were just dominating on the ground. I was like, this helps your quarterback just doing it. And, you know, Sirianni's just ignoring that completely, and it's hurting Hurts. I think he's just in a tough position because defenses know that they're never going to run the ball, and they're just playing back in coverage.
Which I don't get. Like, I feel like a run first oriented offense with Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell, who's shown he's a solid playmaker, and then, you know, you have Hurts, who's a mobile quarterback. That would be so much better than what they're doing right now. And then plus Devontae, you got Devontae, Watkins, and Rager, all speedy guys, right? Well, at least Devontae's a possession big time play guy, but, you know, you got speed on the outside. So you got good playmaking running backs. Why don't we capitalize off that? No, we're just going to do slants and quick release throws. Like, I just don't. Hopefully he keeps learning. Like, I just want Sirianni's like playbook to keep expanding. I don't know if he's just like testing things and like trying to find stuff that work well, because he's the first time he's not like the play caller, because in Indianapolis Frank Wright was still calling the plays, but we'll see. I mean, I saw good progress this week, so we'll see how they play against the Panthers. And like you said, where we were talking off recording, you know, they have a really good defense, so that'll be a good test.
Well, yeah, I mean, the defense has played some high octane offenses the last 2 weeks, but I know we played the Cowboys and the Chiefs, but let's not act like we held our own or even did anything besides just get destroyed. I know they're good offenses, but you need to at least slow them down. You gave up 48 points, and what did we give up? Dallas was the 42.
Defensively, yeah, but I would say I know the score, the Kansas City score looks bad, and the Chiefs did pull away in the fourth quarter, but Eagles were in that game through 3 quarters. I don't want to hear otherwise. I was watching, and you were there. You should know.
Well, no, I mean, I'm still
neither team punted. Like, the Eagles didn't punt at all, and they didn't turn the ball over, I think.
But but we've back-to-back weeks have now given up 40+ points. Like, you'll just never win.
I know it's not good, but I'm saying it's a new defense with young players. Well, actually, some veteran players too. But
that's my main problem. Is these veteran guys are the one that aren't producing and getting penalties for you.
All right, if you had to name off the top 5 offenses in the NFL, would the Chiefs and Cowboys be in that top 5?
Probably, but what am I supposed to act like I'm not concerned that we still gave up?
No, you can be concerned, but I'm saying
it's
not like we allowed the Jets to put up 40 points on us. It's the Chiefs, and they did it only through, you know, we shut down Kelsey, we shut down, you know.
I mean, Kelsey didn't have to do anything.
It was literally just the Zeke and Mahomes show, and then the running backs of Kansas City, but that was it. Like, they shut down everyone else. Which, you know, again, they had 42 points. It's not saying much, but I'm definitely concerned. You can't give up 40 points, but I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that Gannon should be fired and shit like that, you know.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that we've now had 2 back-to-back bad weeks. I know it was a bad offense. So, all right, what would concern you against the Panthers? They're not the same offense, but they're not a bad team. If you give up 30+ points to the Panthers, am I going to be concerned now?
Or against the Panthers, yeah, I would definitely be concerned.
I don't,
because that shows me that because against the Falcons they played well. You know, after they were gashing them on the run, they adjusted at halftime. 49ers, they were getting gashed on the run, but they you know, slowed them down in the air and kept it a close game. Dallas was Dallas, and then the Chiefs game was, for the most, I mean, like I said, besides the running, they were gashing us in the run, and we obviously couldn't stop them because they didn't punt. But the thing also is, like, I looked into it, and like they while the Chiefs scored on almost every drive and didn't punt, the defense made them like earn the yards. Like they had drives of like 15 plays sometimes. Like they weren't like gashing us like huge plays. Like they had to work their way through third downs and long second downs and stuff. Like it wasn't like a cakewalk. And clearly they couldn't figure out a way to stop them, but they definitely slowed them down, made them work for it. But like I said, it's a work in progress as a team and in the whole. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how this Panthers game plays out. If we're in the game and they play well and they lose, I don't care about the win-loss at this point. I just want to see them play well and like they're improving upon all the issues, because these are all fixable things, especially the discipline stuff with jumping off sides,
we're 4 weeks in now, and we
haven't
gotten even slightly better at this. Like I'm seeing multiple ineligible men every week. I'm seeing personal fouls every week.
Yeah, I agree.
Like this is the same issues that we had week 1. Even when we won, I was like, damn, if we didn't have 15 false starts, imagine how many points we could have put up.
Yeah.
And it's consistently, you've gone over double digits on penalties every single week this season. It's just you'll never win anything doing that. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Fair enough. Any final thoughts on the Birds, or would you like to just kind of wrap up?
I mean, yeah, like I said, it was a tough game. I didn't think they were going to win. I didn't really think it was going to be competitive. I thought the Chiefs were going to make sure to make a statement out of us, and they did.
It was definitely more competitive than I thought.
You have a different definition of competitive. When you're giving up 42 points, that's hard to compete in any kind of game.
We scored
giving
30.
Up 40 points.
I don't know what you're expecting.
Oh, you're rewarding garbage time. Don't reward garbage time.
What do you? Don't lie. We all expected it to be like the Chiefs to score 40 and for us to get blown out. It wasn't a blowout. They were in the game. They got the Chiefs pulled away in the fourth quarter, but they were in that game.
I'll give you. Yeah, you're right.
If they don't punt, you can't tell me they weren't in the game if they didn't punt once. Like,
I'll give you that. Yeah, it was more competitive than I thought from score, but I never really had any doubt that the Chiefs were going to win that game. There was just too many mistakes. We were consistent.
If I told you the Eagles didn't punt at all, you would have thought what? Oh, they probably won the game. Oh, they probably played pretty well.
Maybe. But what happens is your defense gives up 42 points. So even when you don't punt, you still can't win that game.
Hey,
it's hard to win any game where you give up 40 points.
Glass half full.
I mean, we're 1-3 here, guy. I'm not going to be jumping up and down. I'm not burning the place down or firing anyone.
Rookie quarterback, rookie coach.
But I'm not going to go out of my way to defend him right now. We're still 1-3, and we have tough games on the horizon.
I'm just saying. But yeah, we'll see. If they're, for 1-10, then yeah, I'll be upset, obviously. But I'm not. I'm not like ready to jump off the bus yet. So
let me give you, because I think the Panthers are a solid team. I think they got brought down a little bit after this week.
Okay.
How confident are you in them beating the Panthers this week?
I don't know if they'll win, but I don't think they're going to get smacked. I think it'll be close. I don't know if I think McCaffrey's still out too.
I do think so too. I don't know what the offense line update is like, but I think the Panthers are, leading the league. I think last I heard in sacks, or I think they're second place actually behind the Bears. So missing 4 linemen against them might be a problem. You can get away with it against the Chiefs, who'd missed their best pass rusher with Frank Clark, and they're not a very good defense, but the Panthers are going to come at you, and I don't know who's supposed to play. I would assume Lane's going to be back after the personal matter, but I didn't really hear an update there. But this could be a good litmus test for your offense. This might be the best defense they've faced all year.
It's a good test for both sides, because I want to see what they decide to do with the secondary against Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. I wish they would just let Slay and Nelson follow the 1 and 2s instead of doing this cushy zone shit.
Yeah,
I don't think, especially Slay, I just feel like they're making him play so far back, and then he has to. If you notice, half the time he has to jump routes because they'll throw short routes because of how far the defense has him playing back. It's just like,
well, I think that comes back to some of your linebackers. I think a lot of times when they're in the zone, their quarterbacks are just picking off their linebackers. They're just getting guys in space. I saw Hill on Wilson a couple times during that game, and that just will never work.
Yeah, and I know people love the Singleton story, but newsflash, he's not a starting linebacker.
But and you know what? I'll give him this. He's always there to make the play. Does he miss maybe 30% of those things? He does, but he's always there. He's always there to make a play, but he does miss a lot of tackles.
Eric Wilson just over pursues everything.
Yeah.
He's just all muscle and no.
I haven't really seen Edwards do anything or Avery whenever he gets out there. So I guess I'll take Singleton. He's your best one because at least he's in position. Does he make the play all the time? No, but at least he's in position. I see him doing stuff.
The fact that they have a rotation of linebackers and they're all terrible. What does that tell you?
It's been like that for the last 4 years, so I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Please draft a linebacker in the first, second rounds.
So, all right. So I think that was a good little Eagles breakdown. I was curious what caught your eyes around the league. There was a couple big games this week. Two statement games, I thought.
So I'll just go through them real quick. The statement game is right after this. Second one I'll touch on, but Bengals took care of the Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence has probably played his best game.
I tell you, he gets a lot of bad credit just for the 0-4 and the interceptions, but he still makes plenty of Trevor Lawrence plays. Like, this guy's still going to be really good. I don't have a single doubt. He's throwing interceptions, the guy's learning, but he's making plays that I see it and I'm like, damn, that's special. He's still rolling out in the pocket. He's super athletic and just lets it go.
Yeah, he wasn't the only Jaguar making plays. Apparently, Urban Meyer was making plays on young women at the bar.
Shocked. Like, it's tough because like Urban Meyer, let's be honest. I think the narrative coming this season was everyone is expecting him to fail. Like, he's just a college coach. Everyone didn't. I don't think the expectations were pretty high. And now we're in week 4 and you've already went out and publicly embarrassed yourself when your team's already 0-4. What are you doing, man? Like, what do you you didn't take see you guys, because you hear you didn't take the team bus. See you guys. I know we're 0-4 and haven't won yet, but you take the this ride home. I have partying to go get to. Thanks, head. Coach. They just then him going to the bar and hanging out with college kids and getting danced on with college girls. Like, you know what that is? That's a college coach kind of thing. Like, I would expect that from a college coach. You never must be an NFL coach. Oh my God. I mean, at least you can convince me, I was at the bar, socialized kids, I was recruiting or, trying to, what are you going to say when you're a pro coach? Like, man, you're just embarrassing yourself. I don't think that marriage is going to go well. It might not even make 1 year, depending on if they don't start winning. They need to win a little bit here.
They've won since Gardner Minshew last year. They won the first game of the season, then lost 15.
Yeah, I know your expectations aren't that high, but man, Urban, when you got this off the field stuff and you're not winning, your tenure's not going to last very long.
Yeah. Surprise game here. The Jets, Jets, won in overtime against the Titans. Shocked.
Yeah, Jets look pretty good. Wilson looked good. Corey Davis came out. He had a
I will say, I shit on Wilson a lot. I still don't think he's going to be a good quarterback, but he played really well. So I'll give him that.
He did. He made
nice throws.
All those stuff I said, I heard about in the draft, where this guy's just super athletic, got a cannon. He gets off the platform and makes these great plays. Hey, he showed it this game, but I mean, the Titans, that offensive line and that defense are horrible. Tannehill was under siege the entire game. This was not the first game this season to have to deal with that. So that is something they need to figure out.
Yeah, that was rough, but good for the Jets. Get their first dub. Bears Lions. Thought the Lions would have played a little better. It was pretty much all Bears. Lions scored a couple at the end. Carson Wentz got his first win with the Colts. They beat the Dolphins Dolphins don't have Tua, so not much you can do with Brissett. But
the Dolphins, man, they're tough. I'm very happy because that draft pick might be pretty good.
I thought they would have been so much. They've just been very disappointing. They're probably one of the most disappointing teams this year for me. I thought their defense was going to surprise people and be really strong, and they have not been. And even Xavier Howard hasn't had a good season so far. So
no, I agree with you. I thought the defense would. I mean, no one really knew what to expect with Tua, but this defense hasn't been good, man. They've 27 this week, 31 of the Raiders, 35 to the Bills. Like, they are not holding up their end of the bargain in here.
Yeah. Washington won in a thriller against the Falcons. 34-30.
Very impressed by Taylor Heineke, man. Did you see some of the highlights of that game? That guy was making some plays. Very impressive.
Did you watch Heineke in the playoffs against the Bucs? He gave them a run for the money.
Yeah, but man,
I think he's a solid quarterback.
that touchdown he threw to McLaren where he was like tackled by like 3 different guys, spun around. And then he led the last minute drive to get him.
Who was that? JD McKissick diving over the pylon for that was a cool highlight.
Good game for them. Another defense I'm disappointed in though.
Them too.
Man,
30 points.
They're real.
Yeah.
That defense has not been good.
Their secondary has been a lot of points. Their secondary has been rough. But
I mean, man, you give up 29 to the Giants, 43 to the Bills, 30 to the Falcons. Like, I expected more from this defense.
Speaking of Giants, they won in overtime against the Saints. Another surprise game, and the Saints are exactly the team I thought they were.
Overrated. Yeah, I know. I'm disappointed in the Saints. I had questions about their offense, but the defense I thought would have carried them. That was a disappointing.
Their defense,
good win for the Giants.
Their defense seems to just flip a coin, and then it's like, are we going to be really good today, or are we going to be really bad? All right, really bad today against the Giants. Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't like them going forward, but the Giants could win for them. They earned it.
Yeah. Surprise low scoring game because this of all the games, I really thought this was going to be the highest scoring game. Browns and Vikings, 14-7. Browns won.
I know. Well, I've been gassing up the Vikings as just must see TV every week. But that must see TV was pretty boring this week. And you know what? Kirk Cousins was in the dud consideration right to the very end, but I took him off because I thought the Browns defense was just menacing. Their secondary played really well.
The Browns defense has been quietly one of the better defenses this season.
I was more
actually not so quietly. They've been very clearly one of the better defenses.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with their defense. Dalvin Cook didn't do much. Cousins made some good throws. It was just that defense was suffocating.
Yeah.
You know who really disappointed me? And if they lost that game, he would have found his way on the dud list. Man, Baker looked horrible. He looked terrible.
Rough, yeah.
I counted. I think he missed Odell on at least 2 wide open deep balls. Just himself. He missed a couple other deep balls, and this is the problem with their offense is they're going to get those deep shots, and if you can't make them, then that's a waste.
Yeah. Already mentioned it. Chiefs beat the Eagles 42-30. I actually didn't know that Mahomes only had 270 passing yards. I mean, he had 5 touchdowns, and Edwards-Helaire had 100 rushing yards. But I mean, Hurts had 387 yards. You would like him to not throw the ball 48 times for 32 completions, but progress.
Before to cut you off here, I just saw this thing. I don't know if you saw. Adam Schefter just tweeted. Literally just came in. Surprised here. The Cowboys released Jalen Smith.
Really?
Yeah, why? I don't really understand why they would do that in the middle of the season.
Breaking news on Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. Well, I mean, you'll be listening to this tomorrow morning, but interesting. I would have to think that's some kind of personal conduct thing. Like maybe got to a fight with the coaches or something, or they found out something and they're like, "This guy's gonna get fucking suspended."
I don't know, man.
He hasn't been playing well the last few seasons. Like, remember a couple years ago, he was like a top 10 linebacker, and he's fallen off the last 2 years. But I'm just surprised. Like you mentioned, Jane Collins earlier. The Lions released him, but that's the Lions. They came out and they said, like, we're on 2 different timelines. We want to play young guys, and that's kind of why they released Jane Collins. The Cowboys are 3-1, look like a playoff contender. It's week 4, and you're releasing a starting linebacker. I really think that makes any sense. Maybe this is just a confidence boost to Micah Parsons because he has been awesome. He has been very impressive, which is scary because he's not going anywhere. But their defense, all in all, looks pretty rough, but there's some talent there. Diggs and Parsons are going to scare me for the rest of the next 10 years if they stay there. He got bigger, and he looks a lot just bad. Like he handled Devontae Smith pretty well. I hate to say it, but he looks good.
He just got two interceptions this week too. He's playing well. He had a rough rookie year, but it was more a baptism by fire because him being his rookie was the best corner on the team. So he found himself matched up with the number 1 guy every week. And rookies are just going to get torched in those situations. But he looks good, man. Even Randy Gregory had 2 sacks. There's some stars on that Dallas defense, which I'm not happy about seeing.
Yeah, no.
So actually,
I just looked at Twitter. And someone replied to Adam Schefter's tweet with a picture of Jalen Smith trying to, looks like, deflect a pass to Jalen Reagor. And as you can clearly see, he is not even close
Yeah, the maximum effort though. Maximum effort.
He's like 10 yards away.
Still so how about this? All right,
trying to touch the ball, but
we didn't see this release happening. But we just ripped the Eagles linebackers. You just mentioned that if nothing changes, you have to go make a move. Do you consider bringing in Jalen Smith? I mean, I'd entertain the idea. I would
100% entertain the idea. I don't know, because there has to be a reason. He went from starting. I mean, I think Micah Parsons is a big reason for that. I think the money involved in Jalen Smith is a big part of that, but I don't. I would definitely entertain the thought, and I'm sure the Eagles will see it, and they're also thinking about it. I don't know if they'll act, but I wouldn't be opposed. I'll say that much. I mean, for the right money. You have nothing to lose.
Does he improve your linebacker core? Yeah,
can't make it worse.
I think he improves it. Exactly. So, all right. Well, that's some breaking news there. I hate to throw you off.
Speaking of the Cowboys, they took care of business against the Panthers, 36-28. I hate to admit it, their defense has got better from last year. They're still not.
It did.
They're still not great, but
still not doing great enough as a unit. They have pieces though to build around. Like Diggs looks like a pillar. Parsons looks like a pillar.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Randy Gregory has like character issues. If he can keep it together, I mean, he looks pretty good this week too.
Pieces on defense, and the offense is literally firing all cylinders. So
yeah, the offense was, I mean, like I said, Dak threw the ball through 4 touchdowns without even throwing 200 yards. I think he did it in less than 20 attempts.
Yeah, they were cruising. The NFC East will be their division to lose at this point. So
14 of 22, 180 yards, 4 touchdowns. He threw 14 passes and got 4 touchdowns. They did it efficiently, and it was a lot of that run game. Yeah, I was impressed. I was scary, very terrifyingly impressed by the performance they put out there. Right. I thought that was a statement win.
Yeah, they've been pretty impressive. Bills, another impressive team, scored another 40-burger against the Texans, 40-0. God damn.
They're just rolling teams.
They lost. Who did they lose to week 1? I don't even remember.
Steelers.
They lost to the Steelers, and since then the Steelers have lost 3 straight, and the Bills have gone on to just manhandle every team they faced. So
completely polar opposites after that game.
Yeah, they've scored 130 points in the past 3 games or something. Like what?
And they probably, I think they gave up like 30 points in the span at the same time.
It's fucking nuts.
Their defense is crushing right now, so they look scary.
Another surprise to me: the Cardinals kind of manhandled the Rams. Like the Rams weren't really in this game. They won 37-20.
I agree with you a lot. I do believe I picked the Cardinals last week, and like I said, I've been telling you the Cardinals are hot. And there was some odd performances by some big guys around. I'll get to
AJ Green. Look at that,
dude. Listen, they brought in those veterans. Like the Eagles brought in veterans to establish their defense and help for the coordinators to rely on instead of just young guys. And it completely hasn't worked out. The Cardinals went and brought in some leaders and some veteran guys to teach this team how to win. AJ Green, JJ Watt, Rodney Hudson, and they're balling. They're really playing well. Kyler looks great. But man, the Rams really let me down. I was surprised. I did expect the Cardinals to win this because I thought the Rams might have a little get caught up in the hype of beating the Buccaneers the week before. But Stafford looked really bad passing the ball. He was inaccurate. He threw a bad interception. I'll get to him later, but who else was bad? Who just missed the duds list actually was Mr. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. And he had zero solo tackles, 0 tackles for loss, 0 sacks, 4 combined total, 4 combined tackles. That was about it. And that's not Aaron Donald like. I was very surprised. He was a non-factor.
Chandler Jones has been kind of quiet too since his 5-sack game or whatever that was.
But I mean, listen, that defense held them to 20 points. The Rams 20 points.
I think what happened was the Rams got off to a slow start. Stafford threw that early pick, and they just couldn't catch up to the Cardinals in enough time. But I mean, I'm not worried about the Rams at all. The Cardinals are surprising me. Because it's not often that you see like a lot of veteran change come in and like be integrated super well or perform well. And I mean, JJ Watt's just playing, solid game. AJ Green's contributing on offense. I mean, you still got DeAndre Hopkins destroying people. Kyler's looked really good. I would argue Kyler's MVP so far.
I would back up that argument. Yeah.
James Conner decides to play really well when I bench him on my fantasy team, and then when I start him, he does terrible. So that's good.
Well, how about why do you give James Conner 18 carries when he's averaging 2.8 yards per carry, but you gave Chase Edmonds 12, who's averaging 10? The guy had 120 yards. James Conner had 6 more carries than him and only got 50. Dude, just give the other guy the ball. Just looking at those numbers, I have many questions.
I get that players are excited they get to wear single digit numbers now, but number 6 on a running back just looks weird.
They're all stupid. They're all stupid.
The only ones that look cool are on the receivers and the cornerbacks. I think it looks dumb on running backs.
I really don't like
Gainwell is number 14. I keep thinking he's a wide receiver, but
yeah.
And moving on, Seahawks beat the Niners. They needed that to get back to 500. So good to see Russ doing well.
Russ looks great, man. He's still making plays.
Russ looks great. Another older quarterback, Big Ben, looks horrible. Packers beat the Steelers.
So curious, I wanted to say this one for you. I wanted to ask your opinion. Big Ben looks like he has nothing left. The Steelers are a Super Bowl, they have a roster, or at least a defense that's ready to compete for a Super Bowl. What do? You can't, the way Ben looks, do you look at Cam Newton? Do you go with Dwayne Haskins? If they keep this up, man, you're gonna have to do something. You'd be 1-5, 1-6.
I think the only thing keeping them back from making a move is just the respect factor. And I think if they do anything, it wouldn't be very Steeler-like to make a trade for a quarterback. So I would think they would give Haskins a shot. But I think what they're just going to do is eventually Big Ben's going to get injured, and then they're going to be like, okay, next.
See, I mean, the respecting is one thing, but remember when Eli was the worst quarterback in the NFL and then they benched him for Geno Smith? That was with a Giants team that didn't have really playoff contentions or playoff hopes. This Steelers team, you could say, is a contender. I expected them to contend for the AFC this year. They have a defense that's ready to go. Their quarterback's on the back.
I will say, Big Ben definitely shouldn't be starting regardless, but I will say that offensive line is doing him no favors. They might be the worst. They might be the worst offensive line in the league.
Yeah, so, I would probably agree with you there.
Broncos the Ravens beat up on the Broncos. And I thought the Broncos were going to kind of upset them here, have a nice game, but then Teddy Bridgewater went out in the first quarter. So that definitely changes things. So
True Lock is terrible.
Yes. Chargers beat the Raiders on Monday Night Football. And, it was, Chargers were up 21-0 at half. Then Raiders came back. Waller went beast mode for a while and was catching everything and made it a 1-score game. And then the Chargers pulled away at the end. But I think both teams are both teams show that they're going to be pretty good the rest of the year as long as they, keep playing like this. So,
Herbert looked good, but the most impressive thing I took from that game, man, that defense for the Chargers was menacing. They were all over Derek Carr. They were quick, constantly. Darwin made plays. Bosa still looked good. Although I thought Leatherwood looked rough in the beginning. He gave up a sack to Bosa, and then he had 2 false start penalties. But by the second half, I thought he kind of was in his own, calmed down. Yeah. But other than that, the defense was all on Carr. It was tough for him to pass the ball.
Yeah, and then the most talked about game all fucking week. Tom Brady's return to New England was not a very entertaining game. It was raining, a lot of sloppy play. Mac Jones actually, I think, played better than Tom Brady did. Tom Brady didn't look great. But the Buccaneers pulled out, won 19-17.
Yeah, I like the game. Belichick was pulling out everything. He had some creative defenses. He definitely had been saving the good plays for this game. You could tell that this was a top-notch Belichick genius defense. Oh,
the defense played really well. I saw Jalen Mills making plays. I'm happy that he's found a nice home to make stuff.
I texted you. I thought Judon was the biggest difference maker there. He was using them all over the place. He was like a Swiss Army knife making plays.
Eagles could have used him.
Yeah,
we didn't have the money, but and they finally started using their tight ends that they spent so much money on. Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, and Hunter Henry's been almost a non-factor. Finally scored a touchdown, but
Yeah, Judon was the only signing that I was really. Everyone was freaking out. Oh, the Patriots spent all this money, blah 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 blah.
Aguilar actually was. Aguilar had a decent game too.
So. I mean, these aren't guys I'm really super excited for. Judon, I thought was the best pickup, and I think it's showed that way.
I agree, but I'm just saying, former Eagles on the Patriots doing well.
True.
I think I forget. It was either post game or pre game. Someone was interviewing Brady, and he mentioned the Super Bowl again against the Eagles. Oh, you know what it was? He had that one scramble where he against the Tom Brady had to play against the Patriots. It seems weird to say. He had a scramble on like 3rd and 6, and he like got a first down. And someone was like, "Oh yeah, you showing your athleticism." And then someone was talking about like how he went out for a pass on another play when they did a trick play. He's like, "Yeah, everyone knows, not that athletic at this age, and I definitely can't catch the ball as you remember against Philly in the Super Bowl." I was like, nice. But yeah, that wraps up a pretty entertaining week. I would say. It was a lot of close games. A lot of teams that we thought would kind of dominate ended up either losing or playing to the wire. So, based on that,
listen,
yeah.
When I was just gonna say, it's gonna be a crazy and entertaining week when both New York teams go into overtime and both New York teams win. That's the craziest thing I took from the whole week. There was a lot of crazy things. The fact that both New York teams went into overtime and won on the same week, that's when this week is.
That strip of New York, and then I guess you would call them New Jersey as well, went 3-0. Bills, Giants, Jets. Yeah. How about that?
It's not weird week. So
speaking of weird,
already,
how were the studs and duds this week? Any surprises?
I gotta say, this was one of the most competitive weeks for both sides.
Exciting.
There was a couple good ones. I mean, we already mentioned it, so I'll just say right now he didn't make the list, but I just found it harder to convince myself. Besides the fact that he's embarrassing himself on a public stage. I thought Baltimore was a tight game on Thursday, but Urban Meyer avoided the dud list, even though he's probably had the worst week out of everyone. But with that said, we will start with the duds. And this guy, man, you want to talk about, he was definitely an MVP conversation up until this week. A guy that was impressing everyone, came off a huge win last week with a lot of fanfare. Team in general was coming off of a good week. Just coughing up and tripping over my own words.
There's no blood comes on the screen, I think we'll be all right.
But I kind of preluded to this a little bit earlier, but missed a lot of deep throws. He was off all game. He had a bad interception. I believe he ended up with 2 interceptions on the game. Team only managed to score 20 points, which I believe was the lowest outcome they've had all year so far. And just looked off. They lost to a division rival in a tight game and kind of were knocked off the pedestal being the NFC best team for the 1 week they had it. So I'm going to go with Stat Daddy Matt Stafford being the third dud for this week.
Wow. I mean, he did not play well. So I don't.
He really did. Just watching that game too, he ended up with 26-41, 280, and then 2 touchdowns and interception. One of them was a garbage time touchdown, but he just looked bad all game. Like he really was off on a lot of passes, did not look clean, just looked out of sync, and it really hurt them because the Cardinals came to play that week. This second dud, this one was actually a late addition because we got some news this week that kind of was a little rough for the guy. So some people are having a rough week. There's Urban Meyer who's having the worst week, but I think my next dud is up there for worst week. Came off a stat line of a brutal fumble as a punt returner in his team's own 20-yard line at the end of the third quarter after his defense stopped them, the opposing offense, in a tight game. Because at this point, it was 14-3. His defense came up clutch, made a big stop. It was right towards the end of the third quarter. They ended up punting, went right to him, dropped it, muffed the punt. Other team recovers. They put 3 more points on the board, makes it 17-3. And to make it even worse, he had 1 reception in the game for -7 yards, was only offensive stats he's had. To make that even worse is I guess his coach was a little short on patience here because the guy got traded today for a 6th-round draft pick to go to the Bears. And that would be my man, Jakeem Grant. I believe it was Jakeem Grant. I apologize. Punt returner for the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, just got traded. And I was like,
another breaking. You are the new Adam Schefter. 2 breaking news.
Top.
Wow, look at this.
Now I was like, damn, that's pretty tough. I saw the drop fumble, and it was pretty brutal when it happened in the game, and they ended up losing to the Colts, and the momentum changed on that fumble.
Yeah.
But then I looked more into it, and I was like, damn, this guy was a second-team All-Pro returner last year, and he was in the second year of a 4-year, $20 million contract he signed in 2019. And we're 4 weeks into the 2021 season. I guess they had enough. So that man's already packing his bags and he's out into Chicago. And when you get traded mid-season for a 6th-round pick, it doesn't mean you're leaving on good terms. So, Jakeem Grant, you are my dud.
Man.
Moving on to another dud here. And this one,
is this number 1?
I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad putting – this was kind of a performance like I know Zach Wilson was our number 1 dud when he threw his 4 interceptions a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And this game going into it, I knew this wasn't going to be a good game for this guy. You know, he's on a horrible team. He was going against a juggernaut that's been destroying teams, especially on defense. But 11 of 27 for 87 yards passing in a game you lost 40-0. Man, you had plenty of garbage time, and you couldn't even get 100 yards passing. Go along with 4 interceptions. It hurts to put him there because you knew this was going to be disastrous, but Davis Mills, you're the number 1 dud this week, but it was not a good week for you, my friend.
Yeah, he actually didn't look terrible a couple weeks ago. But yeah, he looked horrible today or yesterday.
Yeah, the 4 interceptions. I couldn't decide was actually worse. The fact that he had 4 interceptions or the fact he couldn't even get 100 yards passing in the game, he lost 40-0. Usually you can get 100 garbage time yards. But no, it did not work out well for the man. So tough game. Moving on to the good stuff, though. We got 3rd stud. Got a little NFC East representation on the studs. It's actually NFC East themed. Got 2 NFC East players and a team that went on to beat an NFC team. Oh. So my first NFC East representative, actually the first 2 on the same position, but this was in a team that got their first win this week in overtime, as I said. And this guy was a big part of it. He made a bunch of big plays. He had a long run, 2 touchdowns, and gave you 126 yards total between his receiving and rushing. He was a factor in the offense from the beginning of the game to the end, really came up big. And, he is the star on the team. He's been a little quiet coming off the injury from last year. So it was good to see him get back. I think it was probably the best game I've seen from him so far. So my 3rd stud for this week, Saquon Barkley.
Saquads. Yeah, he had a strong overtime too. Was able to muster his way through the
yeah, he was he was a big part of that victory.
He looked like rookie Saquon, which is the Saquon everyone wants to see. So
yeah, and honestly, I mean, I'm not rooting for the Jets or anything, but it was good to see for NFL fans him doing it on the ground and on through the air, because that was the prime rookie Saquon. He was doing it both aspects. He was a dominant runner, and then he was going out and catching passes. So you saw that today, or you saw this week.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a giant, but I'm rooting for his success, not against the Eagles. I like to see him do well. Penn State running back, and he was. I think. I don't know if it was the right move for the Giants, but he definitely was deserving of a top 5 pick the seasons he had in college. And I think people shit on him because of how bad the Giants have been. But that's their line was bad. It's not his fault that their line sucks and he can't do, he can't do everything. But I'm happy to see him have a nice game. He probably felt really good for him, after all the struggles and rehab he's had to do. So
I don't want anything good for the Giants, but it was a big win for them. Yeah. They beat a team,
they're not going to win many more, I don't think, so we'll be all right.
Yeah. Moving on, because this sickens me again, but we got another NFC running back.
Okay.
Another NFC East running back on the list, but this man had a big game. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. Dak was in consideration here, but watching that game, and you just see the stat lines, Dak threw 4 touchdowns, but he didn't have to do too much. It was a safe game plan, and it was mostly because they were dominant on the ground. So this guy, my stud, really needed a big game. He's another guy who's been, a little rough the last couple games in this season. He hasn't been the elite running back that we've expected, especially since he signed that big contract. So this was a big game against a very good defense. Set the tone offensively, went for 20 carries for 143 yards, 7.2 average, and throw a touchdown in there too. And really was just dominant and really set up the offense. The run game in general was dominant because Tony Pollard had, 10 carries for 67 yards too. But going with Ezekiel Elliott as our second stud of this week. Just really, he needed this.
Does that hurt you?
It does. It does. But you know what? I've been very critical, and like I feel like everyone has since he signed the contract. He really hasn't been the elite running back he was before the contract. And you know what? He came out. He made life easy for Dak and the offense in general. They were running it on. You know, their running game was deciding that game for them. And Dak played well, but Zeke was a big factor this week. So I made him my second stud. Moving on. This one hurts me too. None of the studs I really enjoyed because this one I had to see with my own eyes, and he was just, oh my God, he was just having his way. I could have gone with Mahomes here. You know, he was 24-30 with 278, 5 touchdowns, which is pretty amazing. But I got 11 receptions for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he was just a nightmare. You said we held Kelsey in check. I don't think we did. I think we didn't have to. Mahomes didn't look at Kelsey because he had Hill running up all over the field wide open. Like the guy, Tyreek Hill had such an incredible game that I don't think they needed anything from anyone else. And he just torched them. The game plan to stop him didn't exist. There was no stopping him. He just used his speed and torched everyone they tried to put on him. And it was just evident. He's one of the best wide receivers in football, and it was on full display this week. So Tyreek Hill getting the number 1 stud this week. So I had to put a giant, a cowboy, and the dude that put up 3 touchdowns and 186 yards against the Eagles. This was a brutal list, man. I was not happy with this list this week. So, and you know who my runner-up was? It was Scary Terry. Terry would have been the next one because he destroyed a hell of a game. Man, 6 receptions, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and one of them came on that crazy Heineke play. Oh God, it's brutal week to make the studs list. I was not happy with any of it.
I mean, if the Eagles won, maybe Devontae could have been in the conversation because he had 120 yards or something, or 100. I forget what it was. No scores though.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. It's a good sign. All right. That's our studs and duds. You ready for some too much whiz? Which is ironic. I actually had a cheesesteak for lunch today.
Where from?
Somewhere near work. I don't remember what they're. Something like Doghouse. Something. I don't know. Some hole in the wall place. Cheesesteak with fried onions. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. Making me
hungry. All right. Starts us off. Our usual three points of topics. Points of topics doesn't make any sense. 3 topics of observation from the weekend of football. So number 1, Tim, too much whiz. The Cardinals will finish as the number 1 seed in the NFC when the playoffs start.
You know, it's going to be tight. There's a lot. I'm not discrediting the Rams after they lost. The Bucs, I still think are going to be there all year. The Packers have impressed me. The Cowboys have impressed me, unfortunately. It's a tight race. But like I said, I mean, I was high on the Cardinals coming in this year. They look like they're just kicking on all cylinders, defensively, offensively, all around playing a great game. And you know what? I think they're the number 1 team right now in the NFC. So I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to say, no, I believe it. Not too much whiz. I'm buying into it right now. I have no reason not to think that they're going to be the number 1 team. If they keep this up, they're going to be tough out. They're going to be a tough team to beat. The division worries me. You know, they have a rough schedule just between the 6 games they're going to have to play against the Seahawks, the Niners, and the Rams. But, you know, I think they're legit. I've thought they were legit since the beginning of the season. I think they're going to carry over.
Fair enough. We'll see what happens. Too much whiz. The Eagles will draft a quarterback in the first round of the 2022 draft.
I'm saying too much whiz. I mean, I'm not saying that Jordan Hurts is your franchise guy after what we've seen so far. I'm giving him the rest of the season to prove himself. But I mean, I don't really like the quarterbacks coming out this year. Do not use those 3 picks to go draft Mitch Trubisky. Just don't do that. Stick with Hurts for another year if you're not impressed by someone, because you know, because the other way you're going to look at it is you're probably going to have to trade up. I don't expect the Dolphins or the Eagles to be the worst team in football. Yeah. So unless, you know, the Bengals and the Jaguars, those 2 teams, I think there's too many teams that are quarterback needy that aren't very good that might end up ahead of you, and you'll have to trade up. And man, it would drive me nuts. I'd rather stick with Hurts and not be the guy than waste these draft picks to go trade up and get a quarterback that stinks.
I'll throw things through a window if Spencer Rattler is drafted by the Eagles.
Oh my God.
I don't.
Have you ever watched QB1 on Netflix?
No.
I watched it. So he was on the show when he was a senior in high school. I remember watching the 3 years ago when it was out and he was in high school, and he was the number 1 prospect. This guy was so cocky and so much of an asshole. I hated him. I couldn't stand him. And all I was thinking was, all right, he's number one high school recruit. He's going to Oklahoma. I'm sure the NFL draft is going to be in this kid's future. I was like, if I'm interviewing in the combine, I'm bringing up these episodes of him being a punk ass, stuck up, cocky, just asshole, and asking about, because I honestly, after seeing him, I don't know if he changed, but after seeing him on Netflix, I would not want to root for him. I don't want him to be my franchise quarterback because he just seems like so cocky, and I really don't think he's that good. I don't think Sam Howell's that good either. Like, who else do you like? I'm not impressed by anyone in college. There is no Joe Burrow. There is no Justin Herbert. There is no Trevor Lawrence. I don't even think there's a Tua or like a Sam Darnold. The class is really weak. Don't make a mistake. Ride out with Hurts until you can figure something out.
I think Hurts is a better option than any of those guys. And I love the comparison on Spencer Rattler. They call him the Walmart Patrick Mahomes. So
I don't. His name shouldn't be in
that part.
I'm not associating with him, Patrick Mahomes at all.
All right, and then the final, too much whiz. A playoff contender team is going to trade for a quarterback that will start for them the rest of the season at some point.
For this year?
Yeah. So a team that will be in the playoffs or is playoff contention will make a trade before the deadline for a quarterback that will then become their starting quarterback.
I'm not buying. I'll say too much whiz. I'm not. The only quarterback move I've seen made by a contender is if the Steelers want to bring in Cam Newton and think he's going to be better than Ben. That's the only move I can see. I don't imagine they're going to trade. Really, who's going to be available? The movement I expect is going to be in the offseason where maybe Russell Wilson's available, maybe Aaron Rodgers is available. We'll see what happens in the offseason, but in the season, I just don't see it. I don't see who's going to get moved. The Packers aren't going to move Rodgers now. The Seahawks definitely won't move Wilson now. The only move maybe, but Garoppolo really hasn't looked that great. If you're the Steelers, I guess you could convince me that Garoppolo's an upgrade over Ben, but
I'd say he is, yeah.
I mean, I still think the Niners want to start Garoppolo if he's healthy. I don't see them wanting to move on from him. I don't, and the same thing with the Bears. I don't think they're going to move on from, Foles or Dalton in the middle of the season. Yeah. I think they still, Nagy's made it very clear. He still wants to start Dalton. And I think Shanahan probably feels the same way about Jimmy G. Once they come back and they're healthy, I'd imagine that they're both starting. So I doubt that any movement happens.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just thought it would be an interesting discussion point because I feel like you never really see quarterbacks dealt in the middle of the season. It's only ever like linemen, skill players, but
because there's not many teams that can, if you're trading a quarterback, starting quarterback, you're pretty much punting on the season. It's hard to really act like you're going to be competitive after you traded the starter in the most important position on the team.
Yeah. So,
alrighty. So let's look ahead.
So our power rankings. Starting off, so we have the Raiders who dropped back a bit. They're now at number 10 from number 5, but still think they're, a pretty solid team. Team that beat them, Chargers, have played pretty well all year, and Herbert's looking solid. Have them at number 9. And then we have our trio of Packers, Browns, Ravens, all slid up one spot. So 8, 7, 6. Chiefs are number 5. Probably they have the worst record on this list, but they're the Chiefs, and they'll be, they've been in every game. They just happen to lose a couple.
They lost some good teams too. Yeah.
Bucks at number 4. Rams dropped back 2 spots because they lost to one of our other teams that are in here. And then the Bills number 2, who, like we said, have scored like 130 points, something ridiculous. Like I'm glad the Eagles don't have to play them because they would just get fucking steamrolled. But
yeah.
And then number 1, our new number 1 team, the only undefeated team coming into week 5, which honestly I cannot remember the last time there was only one undefeated team. So. Your Arizona Cardinals, number 1, power rankings. What do you think?
For it, obviously the big discussion we had before was the Cowboys. I think they're in the top 10 right now. I would have bumped out the Raiders. I know the score was closer, but watching that game, I really just never at any moment thought that the Chargers were in trouble. They made the comeback, but I felt like they answered them right away. So the Raiders have some holes. Carr was running for his life pretty much all game. Their secondary is still pretty weak. I know they had some injuries on Monday Night Football, but they're probably the only move I make, and it's probably just the Cowboys. But ultimately, I'm okay with the list.
All right, fair enough. Moving on, Thursday night, we have the Rams and the Seahawks kicking off Week 5. Who are you feeling in that?
I one of the reasons I picked the Cardinals this past week was because I thought the Rams maybe would have got caught up, being a little hyped up and a little too full of themselves after coming off a big win against the Bucs. I have to think that they're going to come out, and be prepared this week. It's a division rival, so it's going to be tough, but I think the Rams get back on track and they win this game.
This one's actually pretty tough for me. I think the Seahawks have a nice win to build off of against the 49ers. I imagine they'll split with the Rams. I guess I'll play them later in the season. So I'm actually going to take Seattle at home to beat the Rams. Rams go and lose 2 straight, but then I think they'll rebound the week after and correct some things. But I'm going to take Seahawks here. Okay. Next game we have doozy. Oh wait, this is all right. So this is they're starting the London games now. 9:30 in the morning, East Coast time. Jets at the Falcons. Good. No one's going to want to get up for that. Or Jets versus the Falcons in London, not at the Falcons. But who you got?
The Falcons look like a bad team. They look pretty rough after every game I've seen. I think the Jets built off their win last week. They look good in some aspects. I'm going to take the Jets. Jets. Back-to-back wins here, baby.
Jets. Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons. Moving on, Patriots and the Texans. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think Pats rebound, get a good win over the Texans. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't think the Texans are gonna be winning many games.
I already wrote down Patriots for you, so you don't even need to say anything. Lions, Vikings. I don't think the Lions they're not playing like a team that hasn't won a game, but the Vikings, like you said, all season so far were the greatest show on turf, and now they're only at 7 points last week. I expect them to rebound and get a W here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was disappointed the Lions lost the Bears, and they did it. It really wasn't that super close. I think that secondary is going to have a rough day going against the passing game attack of the Vikings. KJ Osborne, that dude, the third wide receiver on that team, he is breakout candidate this year. I've been super impressed by him. The only reason you don't hear his name more is because Jefferson, Adam Thielen are his teammates.
Must be nice to have 3 great wide receivers.
That's what I'm saying, man. I'm like watching like Jefferson and Thielen ball, and I'm like, who's this other guy? Like just constantly making incredible plays all season so far. Yeah. So yeah, I'll take the Vikings.
All right, the big one for us: Eagles Panthers. Eagles at Panthers.
Hi.
What's more important to you, being a homer or trying to get ahead of me in the picks department?
You know what? You're right. I'll let my homer fly now because I wasn't picking them against the Chiefs, and I definitely won't pick them against the Buccaneers. So I'll take them this week. This is a week that I'd like to see them win. The Panthers defense has been great all year, but the Cowboys just went and put 36 on them. So hopefully maybe, we can do something similar. It's not going to be this elite offense we've been going against the last 2 weeks. So hopefully our defense can show up a little bit. So I'll take the Eagles. I'm feeling good.
I was trying to coerce you into taking the Panthers because I was going to take the Eagles too. But I think of all like you said, they play the Bucs the week after that. I was going to pick the Eagles to beat the Bucs because I did in my preseason predictions.
See, that's what I was banking on. That's why I was like, I'll take the Eagles now because I'm going to take the Bucs next week because I know for a fact you're taking them.
I know, but I actually think they have a chance against the Panthers. This is tough.
What are you doing? Taking the SAT here?
Yeah, the SATs did take me a while. Yeah, I'll stick with the Eagles. It's tempting. I think it really will be I think it'll be a surprisingly good game.
This is one I'm feeling confident. I want to see them. I really want to win here. I mean, sure, I guess we can lie to ourselves about moral victories if we lose, but I really want to win here. I'd feel really good if they were able to win this game.
Yeah, me too. Saints at Washington.
Man, the Saints have looked really raw. I don't know what Saints team I'm going to get, but listen, I'll buy in with Heineke. He looked great last week. That Saints defense did not look great, so I think Washington put up some points. I'll take Washington.
Damn it! I was hoping we would have another different one. I was also picking Washington.
It's just hard for me to back a team that just lost to the Giants.
Jameis Winston is not a good quarterback, and I'll keep saying it every time. He just has a cannon for an arm. That's all it is. But I mean, there was even a video of him throwing. I mean, nice guy, was throwing like a little football to a kid on the sidewalk the other day, but the kid was hitting him right in the breadbasket, and he's making the kid like run for the ball. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, you're over here criticizing the poor guy. He's probably making that kid's life. He's probably ecstatic, and you're over here criticizing.
Well, that was like ability. Do you remember I don't know if we talked about it. Do you remember the NFL Play 60 commercials with Cam Newton and the little kid? And he was like, the kid, the kid was like, I'm going to take your job one day or something like that. And then everyone's like, oh, the kid ended up being Mac Jones. But yeah, we'll see. Titans at the Jags. Wow, that's a lot of bad games this week. I'm going to take the Titans to rebound.
Yeah, I would have probably taken the Jaguars to get their first win here if it wasn't for the Urban Meyer things. How do I pick a team when their owner just came out to publicly disciplined and condemn his head coaching's behavior? Yeah, I find it hard to believe that the Jaguars would be super. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'd be very surprised the Jaguars were very focused this week. So I'll take the Titans.
Yeah. Bucks, Dolphins. Again, we've said this before. Dolphins just are not good this year so far. I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks as well. The Dolphins are one of the biggest disappointments so far in the season.
Packers, Bengals. This actually has got me thinking a little bit. The Bengals aren't bad this year.
Not.
But the Packers are pretty good. I'm going to go with the Packers.
Fair enough.
It could be. I could see the upset here. I would not criticize you for picking the Packers in all honesty, or the Bengals. I think this is a real shock for upset.
I felt better about the Bengals going into this game. The Mixon injury has me worried because he is a playmaker, and that offensive line isn't great, so I don't think the running game is going to be the same without him. He's day-to-day, but they said that last week when he missed the last 10 weeks of the season. So I'm going to assume that Mixon's not 100%, and I'm going to take the Packers.
Okay. Broncos, Steelers. Oof.
I mean, you said Teddy had a concussion last week. I guess he's going to play. I mean, I would assume.
I can't see. I mean, the Steelers team's too talented to lose 4 straight. I'm going to take the Steelers by default, but
I'm taking the Broncos. They have, I think, a top 5, top 10 defense, and this offensive line and Ben has got me worried. So they're not looking good against mediocre defenses. I think they're going to look bad against a very good defense. So I'll take the Broncos.
Fair enough. Next, we have the Bears at the Raiders. I'm going to take the Raiders to bounce back.
I agree with you there. I think this is going to be a big game for them. They need this.
Bears D's played really well this year, though, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do think this is a game the Raiders bounce back, though.
This might be game of the week. Browns at the Chargers.
It's definitely not the game of the week because I know what the Sunday night game is, but Browns and Chargers will be a good one.
You're right.
I tell you right now, we already mentioned the Browns defense is incredible. It's been amazing all season. Myles Garrett is, I think, my defense player of the year if I was voting right now. And that Chargers defense impressed me a lot on Monday Night Football. I think this is going to be a defensive battle. And after this week that I've seen from Justin Herbert and what I saw from Baker Mayfield, I put my confidence in Justin Herbert to hit the throws in a tight game. And I'm going to take the Chargers.
Fair enough. I'm going to take the Browns. The Browns are my the Browns and the Bills are my 2 AFC teams I'm kind of rooting for this year. So see what happens. Giants, Cowboys, 4:00 primetime. How fun. Giants finally showed some life. Saquon got rolling. these divisional games are always hard to pick. I would love for the Giants to beat the Cowboys, but I think Cowboys are going to take this one.
Yeah, I don't see it. I picked the Jets to win back-to-back weeks. I'd be completely insane if I chose the Giants to also do that.
If
so
you should go out on a limb. All of New York.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cowboys.
All right. Cardinals, 49ers.
You know what?
We went from some shitty matchups to some pretty tough matchups.
Because you know, this is, I mean, the same argument I made about the Rams going into the Cardinals game, I could make about the Cardinals going into this Niners game. Jimmy G, I think, is still hurt. I think that if Trey Lance plays, which I don't know if there has been an announcement yet, we're doing this on Tuesday, so obviously it'll probably finalize something later on in the week. Mm-hmm. But I think if Trey Lance plays, which it looks like might be the case, he might have a tough time going against that J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones pass rush, and all the veterans on that defense. So I'll say that the Cardinals keep rolling. I think the Niners are going to have a tough time keeping up with them offensively. I think the defense will give them a tough time, but the Cardinals are going to score points. They look like an offense that's going to put up big points every week. I just don't know if the Niners are going to be able to keep up with them.
I agree with everything you just said, but I think this is a trap game for the Cardinals, and they're riding cloud nine, feeling good. Niners, on the other hand, have lost 2 straight against good teams, but 2 straight. Their defense needs a rebound here, I would say. And I think they'll shut down Kyler, give him a hard time, and come out with a W.
Yeah, I believe I could definitely see this being the trap game for them. I mean, we were saying this when we were talking about the Cardinals. I mean, their chance at the number 1 seed is going to be tough because they have to play these division games, which are going to be tough, and they look like they're the best teams in the NFC at the same time.
Yeah. This is the game you were alluding to as game of the week. Could be game of the season, depending on how it plays out. Got the Bills at the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. What you got?
I mean, the matchup's great because they're 2 Super Bowl contenders, but I love the narrative we're at right here. The Chiefs already have 2 losses. The Bills are destroying teams. Mm-hmm. The Bills, you don't want to catch the Bills right now. And the Chiefs, it'd be very tough for them to drop 3 games and early October when your division's looking as good as it is with the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders. So I think this is a game the Chiefs have to win. I'm going to rely on the team that's been there and done that. The Bills haven't done it yet. They haven't been able to, topple the Mahomes mountain. And I think the Chiefs come up with a big game and they pull it out.
That's fair. I hate to say it. I agree with you again. I think, I also can't see the Chiefs being 2-3 in October. And I think the Bills, for what it's worth, haven't been playing like we said. I mean, they played Washington and destroyed them, and Washington's supposed to have a good defense, but for the most part, they haven't been playing, great opponents. Yeah. So this will be.
But the way they've been beating them.
I agree. But I'm gonna go Chiefs as well. I think it'll be a shootout. So we'll see what happens.
It's gonna be a good game. I'm excited. It's gonna be a very good game.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of points scored.
Hopefully the Eagles don't leave us with a sour taste in our mouth after the 1:00 games. So we'll see. And then finish it off, Monday Night Football. Got the Colts at the Ravens. And I'm not gonna lie, I was actually gonna take the Colts as an upset, but I'm looking at my picks so far, and they're all a couple upsets already. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens.
Yeah, watching the Colts, it really it's not just Wentz. Wentz is the same player. Going. He did, but man, that offensive line doesn't look the same. I know. I think Nelson's still hurt.
He's out for a year, isn't he?
No, he's coming back. I mean, he is on the IR, but I do believe he's coming back.
I don't know.
I think you're wrong about that one.
Well, who are you picking?
Like I said, the offense in the Colts just looks out of sync for right now. The offensive line's really bad, so I'm going to take the Ravens.
All right, that's who I got. So we have, let me do a real quick count. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 differences. It's not bad. Normally we're pretty similar. Last week, you and I both went 11-5. Our guest pick, Alex, who we had on for an NBA episode, he went 10-6. So round of applause. Everyone did pretty well, in the positive. So that's always good. You and I should really like be put on ESPN or like NFL Network because we always end up
Pretty good.
we rarely, besides like week one, we rarely go under like with our picks. And then you see all the analysts, professional paid people who pick these morons, but
we do it for free. We do it for the love.
We do it for the people.
For the people. We are good people.
Good people to better people. I don't know. I'm tired now. I'm just rambling. But it's a good episode. Covered Eagles ups and downs, Chiefs just smacking us around. But studs and duds, power rankings, schedule recap, schedule predictions. Any final thoughts?
No, I think we did a good job covering everything. I did have a question for you. Since today is the first day of the baseball season, the Yankees and the Red Sox are currently playing. What do you got in the World Series? You don't have to give me through the playoffs because I know baseball isn't your expertise. But who do we got in the World Series? Winning it all?
I don't even know who's fucking in the play. I'm gonna. I mean, what did the Dodgers win 2 straight, or would this be Dodgers, 2 straight?
This would be 2 straight if they won. Yeah,
I know the Giants had a good season, but I could see them like falling out in the playoffs. I'll probably just, honestly, I'll just go with the Dodgers, and I just don't want to see the Yankees win. So that's or the Braves.
Fair enough.
But
they're losing right now 3-0. They could lose the end their season off this.
The Braves.
I mean, no, the Red Sox and Yankees.
Is that a wild card?
Correct. You really are out of it. Jeez, man, you gotta stay at least plugged in.
When the Phillies, I paid attention to the Phillies, and then they just fucking blew it for us. So I kind of.
I know. Yeah, they were let down. I do like playoff baseball. I mean, baseball can be long, but playoff baseball is. I love these elimination games too. Like this is a one and done.
Professional sports is amazing.
I'm calling it now though. Okay. Dodgers. I'm saying I'm going with the Dodgers, and then my surprise pick here. I think the Astros use some fuel of this whole cheating thing this year, and I think we get our Dodgers Astros rematch. And pop your popcorn. But you know what? The Dodgers are still the best team I've seen. They're so good. They're just as good as they were last year, but they added Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. So that's a winning record right there. Yeah,
that doesn't seem fair, but
no, it doesn't seem fair. Is this? They won a World Series last year, brought in the current Cy Young winner, Trevor Bauer. For him to then get suspended and arrested, and then they go replace him with a 3-time Cy Young winner. Like shit, in the middle of the season, you took the current Cy Young winner, put him on the defending World Series champ, just to lose him and just replace him with a better guy in the middle of the season. Like, oh man, how do you pick against that? The team's loaded. I think they do it. So I'm saying Dodgers and Astros in the rematch from the cheating scandal of the 2017 World Series.
Who gets the dub?
Dodgers. They're Max Scherzer looks locked in. They got Trey Turner for peanuts in that deal. The team's loaded. That whole lineup. They got Albert Pujols coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. He's old in that game, but man, I think Pujols is going to have a big home run. This is probably his last go around. I think he wants one more ring, and then I'd have to think he's calling it a career. So I'm expecting one big pinch hit home run for him.
I didn't even know Pujols was still in the league, let alone on the Dodgers. So
I do it for the people. To pay attention to all sports, I do it for the people.
Okay, all right. Well, there you heard it here first, folks. Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks World Series prediction. You're gonna make me want to have. I know what I'm gonna have to make a graphic for this now. Dodgers. Dodgers over the Astros. How many games?
For drama, we'll say it goes 6. Yeah, we live with 6.
I like it. Any final thought? We got NBA preseasons cooking. Andre Drummond looks pretty solid as a backup. I think him and Embiid will be a nice combo, so we'll see how that goes. But
we'll see.
But yeah, I think that's all the big news. And like we said, we have a new linebacker on the market. Let's see if the Eagles go after Jalen Smith or not. But
we'll keep our eye on that.
Keep an eye on that. So we'll see. I'm excited to see how they play against the Panthers, and it's going to tell us a lot. See if because Sirianni was you could tell post game, and then the day after, and then the day after conference, he was very. You could tell he was disappointed, frustrated. So I hope he uses that to build off of the loss. So
Listen, as they should. There's been plenty. I hear the good news, and there is good news. You know, Hurts is young, and I get that and all that. But there's some stuff to be worried about, regardless of experience or not.
I agree.
The penalties is one, not running the ball is another, and then the back-to-back 40-point games you allowed on defense, even though they were elite offenses. Those are three major areas. Just start improving there. Those are my three biggest problems. Improve there, and then let's see what happens for the rest of the year.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. And then on that,
I'll talk to you later.
signing off. Peace out.
Peace.